That night, the air inside the concert arena seemed to be full of electricity. Thousands of cell phone lights lit up, forming a sea of stars that vibrated to the beat of the bass in the air. Everyone in the audience already knew it wasn't an ordinary night. It was Jin's special concert, a moment of celebration and reunion after a long time. But no one expected that in the middle of that nostalgic night, such a personal and touching scene would happen in front of them. All eyes are fixed in one direction and in the second. Jungkook appears. The spotlights light up softly, revealing a figure that for the past 18 months could only be seen through a screen. He stood firmly in the center of the stage, wearing a black jacket with a gleam of lights that confirmed his perfect posture. Not a lot of words, just a calm, focused, meaningful look. The beat of Standing Next to You began to beat, and in an instant, the arena turned into a sea of cheers. But in the front row of seats, there is one silent figure, Jimin. He does not shout, does not wave his hands, does not pull out a mobile phone to record. He just stared. Such a long, deep, honest look, as if time stopped between the two. From his face, everything was clear. Pride, emotion, and admiration that could not be hidden. This is not just a concert. It's not just an appearance either. This is a new chapter in a friendship that has gone through many storms. Two souls who once dreamed of the same dream in a narrow training room now stand in the same world but in a much higher position. That night, from one look, the world knew they were never really apart. The concert camera that captured Jimin's expression that night seemed to have broken through the boundaries of space and time. No script, no screenplay, but one small gesture, teary eyes, a restrained smile, is able to make millions of people around the world fall silent. To many viewers, the reaction seemed simple. But for those who followed BTS's journey from the beginning, it was the most honest symbol of their journey. Imagine two young people who once walked the hard way to the world stage. In the early days, they were often told as a couple who encouraged each other and also calmed each other down. Jungkook, the maknae, is full of energy but sometimes too hard on himself. Jimin, the gentle taehyung, who often becomes a place to vent without many words. In many old interviews, Jungkook always referred to Jimin as one of the people who made him feel safe in difficult times. He once said, "Jimin Hyung always knows when I need someone, even before I speak." And that night it was seen again. Jimin knows how much of a burden Jungkook has been carrying since his solo career soared to a global level. Pressure from the Western music world, high expectations from fans, and the desire to continue to prove themselves after Golden. And so, when she saw her sister return to the stage with a confident performance, the look in her eyes showed not only admiration but also relief. As if to say, "You got through it all." In Korean culture, especially among group mates who are already like family, such gazes go much deeper than words. It was a silent recognition, a sincere appreciation, and a sign of love that could only be understood by those who had fought in the same field. To understand the meaning of that moment of the night, we need to go back to the beginning, to a time when Jimin and Jungkook were not yet a global phenomenon. In 2013, these two young people spent hours in a small rehearsal room in Gangnam. Jungkook is still 15 years old, full of shyness and not yet confident, while Jimin, although older, is also still looking for direction amid the pressure of debut. They are often the last to go home. According to the stories of some of the old staff, it was Jimin who often helped Jungkook improve the choreography or simply accompanied him to eat after rehearsals. The relationship developed without the need for many words. When BTS began to rise, the two were known to have a unique chemistry on stage. Jungkook, with his energetic style, can always be matched by the expressive and intuitive Jimin. But behind the stage, they also have a very human dynamic. Sometimes they have different opinions, sometimes they move away because they are busy, but they always come back to the same point: respect for each other. When BTS started taking on individual projects, Jimin focused on personal musical explorations, while Jungkook immediately parachuted into the global market. Many worry that geographical distance and their schedules will separate the relationship. But the moment at Jin's concert proved otherwise. When Jungkook performs, Jimin is not only present as a groupmate, he comes as a brother who witnessed the fruits of the long, hard work of someone he once saw grow from a shy child to a world superstar. The moment was like a film cut of their lives, real, sincere, and almost poetic. There's a reason the song Standing Next to You felt so symbolic that night. On the surface, this song is about love and connection between people. But for those who know the story of BTS, the lyrics have a more personal meaning. Standing Next to You sounds like a message Jungkook is sending to everyone he's ever stood with, especially the members. And the strongest one that night, of course, was Jimin. In previous interviews, Jungkook has mentioned that whenever he performs alone, the part of him that reminds him of BTS always appears unnoticed. It feels like they're always there, he said. And that night, they did exist, especially in the form of Jimin sitting in the audience. When Jungkook sings, he doesn't just show vocal and choreographic skills. He showed who he is now. Someone who stands firmly on the world stage, but still carries the spirit of togetherness from the past. And Jimin, with that look, seemed to remind the world that Jungkook's success was not only the result of individual hard work, but also the result of the bond they built from the beginning. Every movement on stage, every note that came out, felt like a form of tribute to the times in which they supported each other. At that point, Standing Next to You was no longer an ordinary love song. He became a symbol of friendship that is not fragile by time or distance. Two people who are now walking on different paths, but still stand up for each other. After the concert ended, many media outlets highlighted Jungkook's moment. But ARMY on social media instead focused on one thing: Jimin's expression. The 15-second video footage in which Jimin looks at Jungkook with a small smile went viral immediately. Thousands of comments flooded the post, with many saying something similar. That's not just friendship, that's history. And it's true they're not looking at two idols up and down the stage, but two human beings who have gone through an incredible journey together. From the days when BTS was not yet known, until now when their name is synonymous with K-pop history. Interestingly, Jimin himself did not upload anything that night. No story, no photo, no caption. But in the entertainment world, sometimes silence is the loudest statement. His reaction already speaks volumes. Fans even compared the moment to an old scene from a Love Yourself concert where Jimin hugs Jungkook after one of their big performances. Two different moments of time, but the meaning is the same. Sincere pride. Not all relationships in the industry can stay this authentic. But Jimin and Jungkook have proven that beyond the glitter of the stage and global pressure, there is still room for something simple honesty, empathy, and brotherly love. And that night, from one wordless gaze, the whole world was again reminded. BTS is not just a musical group. They are a family that lives in every tone, every gesture, and every look that understands each other without even having to speak. As soon as the concert was over and the lights in the arena slowly dimmed, the atmosphere did not disappear. It stuck to the hearts of everyone present. The audience still did not move, as if waiting for something else to happen. But actually, that something had already happened minutes before, and without a single word, Jimin remained in his chair, staring at the now empty stage. In his silent expression, there was something greater than mere pride. There was a deep sense of excitement, as if he had just witnessed someone he once knew as an innocent teenager from Busan, now standing as a world icon. And the funny thing is, if we go back in time, Jimin was the one who used to tease Jungkook because of his shy nature. The golden maknae even used to rely on Jimin for simple things, like taking him out to eat or just making sure he didn't miss the training bus. Now that role has reversed. Jungkook stood out as a global star, while Jimin watched from the rows of spectators with a warm, sincere smile. Fans who notice those interactions know it's not just about who's more successful or better known, it's about the journey that has taken them so far, and how that mutual respect lives on. Many wrote on social media, "That look from Jimin says everything Jungkook ever needed to hear." And it's true. In relationships that have been forged by years of hard work, sometimes one look means more than 1,000 words of praise. If we look at the footage of Jimin's face that night in slow motion, there is one moment that really shakes the feeling. A small, barely noticeable smile that appears on the tips of his lips as Jungkook finishes the final note of Standing Next to You. The smile is not the result of a stage reflex or simply the support of friends. It was the smile of someone who had seen a long journey full of blood, sweat, and tears, then said inwardly, "He made it." Their memories are long, from endless practice periods, from days where they only eat ramen because their pocket money runs out, to times where they sleep in tight spaces with big dreams that are not necessarily achievable. All of that is now reflected in that one smile. Jimin knows exactly what Jungkook had to sacrifice to get to this point, not only in terms of career, but also personal life. The world sees Jungkook as an untouchable star, but Jimin has seen his human side. Fatigue, pressure, even doubt that is rarely shown in public. So when that night Jungkook performed as if the world belonged to him, Jimin didn't see idol on stage. He saw his old friend whom he used to encourage not to give up. Longtime BTS fans know that the two have a unique relationship that isn't always shown overtly. They don't share many sweet moments on camera, but when moments like this come up, the honesty is so obvious that there's no need for additional narration. In the world of all planned entertainment, such moments rarely arise. All are usually packaged, directed, even polished to look perfect on camera. But that night, everything was spontaneous. Jin did not announce that Jungkook would be performing. Jungkook himself shows up without any major gimmicks, just with the music flowing right through. And in the middle of it all, the camera coincidentally captured Jimin's face. Nobody forces that reaction to appear, and that's precisely why the moment feels so alive. A natural reaction like this is becoming something rare in an industry accustomed to imaging, and perhaps this is the reason why fans around the world are so touched. They don't see two superstars, they see two human beings who grew up together, with all the wounds and victories they shared. Many media outlets later wrote articles about the moment, calling it the quietest but loudest scene of the night. Some entertainment analysts even highlighted that the internal relationship between BTS members, especially between Jimin and Jungkook, is the emotional foundation that keeps the group strong, even though each is now busy with individual projects. Because behind the glamour and business strategy, there is always a human side that cannot be hidden. What's interesting about Jimin and Jungkook's relationship is how their dynamics keep changing, but never lose direction. At the beginning of his debut, Jimin clearly played the role of Hyung, who guarded, guided, and sometimes even scolded Jungkook with his soft style. But over time, Jungkook grew into a more independent and mature person. Now they stand in line. There is no longer a brother-sister distance in the hierarchical sense. All that remains is mutual reinforcing respect. When Jimin looked at Jungkook that night, he was not looking at his little brother anymore, but a true artist. So does Jungkook, who knows that Jimin was one of the first to trust him in the first place. Even in difficult times, when Jungkook hesitated to try a solo project, Jimin was touted as the one who gave the most powerful morale boost. That's why the performance that night felt like a full-circle moment, where the younger brother finally proved that all their hard work was worth it, and the older brother was present to witness the achievement firsthand. It's not about who is more famous, but about the mutual trust that has been preserved for more than 1 decade. In the music industry, this kind of relationship is almost impossible to endure. But they prove that family doesn't always have to be blood sometimes. It's made up of shared time, struggles, and dreams. If we draw a common thread from all their moments over the years, one thing has always been consistent: mutual respect. They don't always show warmth or closeness in front of the camera, but their small actions speak volumes. Jimin once flew secretly to Jungkook's concert venue just to support him without publicity. Jungkook once mentioned Jimin in an overseas interview as one of the people he most admired for his dedication to the arts. Little things like this build a strong emotional foundation between them. And on the night of the Genies concert, all those foundations feel real, as if time is spinning, bringing them back to the early days, but with a more mature and stronger version of themselves. Fans who have been following BTS's journey since 2013 realize that this kind of relationship cannot be made up. In an industry that often brings people together just because of contracts, Jimin and Jungkook built something deeper than just a professional collaboration. They built a brotherhood. That's why, when the camera catches that look, the world stops for a moment. Because in the middle of the noise of the concert, in the middle of the blinding lights, all that remains are 2 human beings who understand each other without the need to speak. And maybe that's the true meaning of the song Jungkook sang that night standing next to you. It's not just about love, it's about the courage to stand by each other, even when the world is changing.